Hey YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. It has been a very long time since I've really recorded. So right now it is December 17th or another, and I am finally done with finals, and I'm quarter six, so I thought this would be a great time for me to just do an update video and tell y'all how I've been, what's been going on, how this quarter went, and all of that good jazz. So I got me some notes so I can stay on track. But anyway, so let's just get started with this video. I had 6 classes this quarter. I had autonomics, I had GI, substance abuse, biostats, and PK and leadership. So I know you guys have watched, like, well, if you haven't, my other videos. My hardest class was ANS, which is autonomics, and that's just everything outside of the CNS basically. So it was like really challenging. It was our toughest class, and I actually did pretty well in that class, better than I really expected, because a lot of people said like, oh, this class is so hard and whatever, but I did really well. Honestly, the hardest class for me was biostats, and that's because biostats is not anything that I'm interested in, and so it's kind of like abstract for me. I don't really get the relevance to pharmacy, or I don't really know when I'm going to really use it, but I guess since I want to be a clinical pharmacist, I may want to fall in love with biostats. But for right now, it was just the least favorable class for me. My teacher was amazing. She was so fun, and she tries to make it real interesting, but that didn't work. So that was my hardest class. Pharmacokinetics was pretty easy for me. I love PK and like calculating dosages for different drugs and stuff, so that was fun. What else? Oh, my substance abuse class, that one was really interesting too. I think I told y'all that I had to go to a AA meeting, and to my surprise, it was really informative. It was really humbling. It was a great experience, because to know that these people are struggling and they are seeking help and they're getting help and they're doing really well, it was just kind of like life-changing, because it could be us, it could be me, it could be anybody. And then at the time, we were learning about like how people who are addicted to things, like, it's not, at one point, you know, they're deciding, but their chemical balance in their brain is like changing, so their dopamine pathways messed up. I'm not trying to go on to school or whatever, but like, just to know that it's past something that they can control, you know, at certain points. And so it was just really interesting to just go talk to them and like hear their outlook on life, and how they feel like if they hadn't become an alcoholic, there are certain things in their life that wouldn't have happened for the positive. So they really take their I think it's like 12 steps, and they apply it to every aspect in their life, and really anybody could take those 12 steps and apply it to their life. But that was just for the Alcoholics Anonymous part of my class. But we talked about all different kind of substances that people abuse, and it was really interesting. It was like our chill class. We did have a few quizzes or whatever, and then we had a project that we had to do, and the audience was like, I think it was 6th graders. So that was hard, because at first I thought 6th graders didn't know like big words and stuff, but when we I can't think of what you use on Microsoft Word to see what the grade level is, but we had it like down to a 2nd grade level when it was supposed to be 6th grade. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But anyways, that class wasn't that bad. Our leadership class, what did I learn in there? We just worked on our CV, which is like our resume for pharmacy students. I don't know, other people may use CV, but we call it a CV, a curriculum vitae or something like that. What else did we do? GI was interesting. I really underestimated that class because I thought it was going to be that hard. I think I told you guys that, and it wasn't hard. It was just We only had 2 tests in that class, so the information piled up, and it piled up quick. So most of the class was about peptic ulcer disease, ulcerative colitis. What else did we talk about? Liver failure, pancreatitis, those kind of things. And we did a lot on hepatitis, A, B, C, D, and E, or whatever. So that class wasn't that bad. It was just the amount of information was a little overload when you have 2 tests and you try and combine, like, I don't know, 20 chapters. So it's like 10 chapters on one, 10 on another, maybe more than that. But for the most part, that was like some of my classes that I had. It went really well. It was challenging because I was trying to do a lot, and as you can see, YouTube kind of fell by the wayside because I didn't have time. So that was that. I did make a video on my study style. I haven't uploaded it yet, but I just want to touch on it a little bit. I used a mix of Quizlet. I made like flow sheets, and what else did I use? Flow sheets. Oh, and then I studied with classmates. So what we would do, like towards the end of the quarter, we would just meet right before the test and just go over like major key points. And a lot of our tests this quarter was a lot of drugs, so we would go over just side effects and dosage and everything that we need to know. We just basically went over it together and was able to quiz each other, so that way you can know what you know and what you need to focus on the night before the test. Okay, so I don't really want to talk too much about this, but I did want to bring it up for people that are interested in joining a pharmacy fraternity. So in one of my videos, you'll see that I was wearing a specific outfit. I don't want to talk about, like, point it out particularly, but if you watch that video, you'll know. And if you're in pharmacy school, you'll also know what fraternity I was trying to join. So it didn't work out as planned. Initially, I really did like the fraternity, and for people that are, I guess, concerned why I'm saying fraternity, because obviously I'm a girl, but in pharmacy school, I guess because it's unisex, they just call it a fraternity, and there's not another name for a unisex type of organization like that. So we're a fraternity. But anyways, it was really nice because it was gonna allow me to be able to network in other places besides pharmacy school, like in the workforce and everything like that. But I work 3 jobs, well, 3 part-time jobs. So I'm in the Air Force, and I work at pharmacies. So this particular week, I had to work at the pharmacy, and I had my Air Force job that weekend. And I also had 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that I had to be at these fraternity meetings, and they run fairly late or whatever. So I had a test on Tuesday and Friday, and then so that would have left me essentially no time to study, because Monday I would have had to go to this event, Tuesday I would have had to go to this event, Wednesday I would have had to go to this event. Mind you, I said I had a test on Tuesday and Friday, so that would only have left me Thursday to study. And then the Saturday and Sunday, I had to go to work. So I couldn't have studied again for my test the following week. And so I did, in the beginning, I knew that it would be time consuming and it would be a lot, but they made it out that they would be a little bit more understanding to some people's schedules, because this is like out of anything I could do, especially my military job, there was nothing I could do. That was like, I can't think of the word I'm trying to use right now, but out of my control. That's what I'm trying to say. It was out of my control, but it just was kind of unfortunate because I feel like they weren't being understanding. So it was either me stay and fail my test or get out of the organization and just move on. So I decided to quit the organization. I don't want to knock the organization, because I'm not saying just because they weren't understanding to my situation that they're bad, but if they couldn't accommodate me then at that moment, then I knew for future it would be the same instance. So I just decided to like let that go. And then honestly, like as far as like identity goes, like I'm really dealing with that. God is really working with me on that, because I sometimes forget that no matter what organization I'm in, no matter what my grades look like, no matter what it may look like, if it's meant for me, it's going to be for me. I don't need anything else to help me get to where I need to get. And I'm not saying that sometimes it doesn't help to be a part of things and stuff like that, but that doesn't need to be your sole reason why you're doing stuff. And I feel like if I'm not doing it for the right reason, then I don't need to be doing it. And so I feel like a lot of the reason why I wanted to join the organization is because they did have a good brotherhood, and I met some amazing people, like lifelong friendships now. But as far as the need for me to network within that fraternity organization, I don't really feel like it's necessary, because I feel like I have the best person on my side, and that's God, and I know for sure that he's gonna make a way if it's really what I'm supposed to do for my residency program. So moving on, overload. So this quarter I took on way too much. I tried to do this pharmacy fraternity, I tried to do YouTube, I worked 3 jobs, I was and joining so many different also pharmacy organizations, because first year I did a lot of getting used to trying to get adapted to being in an accelerated program, taking a test every Tuesday and Friday, working and trying to work my military job and my pharmacy job. It was just a lot, and I was stressed out, so I didn't really join that many organizations. Well, this year was different. I went head first and just like joined everything basically. And so then also I ran for a leadership position, and I got that, and it was just a lot at the beginning of the quarter. It was really a lot. I was really stressed out. I barely could record. So my YouTube channel just was not priority at that time. And I got really sick, and getting sick in school is already not anything that really people have time for, but getting sick in an accelerated program is definitely not something you have time for, because they don't stop. They keep going, and you just got to catch up. And I was so ill, y'all. Like, I had to miss, it was like a week of school. Like, I could not sit in class. The only thing I would come for was like my ANS class, and then I would go home because I was so sick. Like, my voice was gone. I couldn't regulate my temperature. I don't know what was going on, but I was just messed up. I skipped quizzes that week. I almost skipped my test. Like, one weekend I couldn't even study for my test. I was so sick, but God is so good. I ended up making like a 92 on that exam. It was my PK exam, which was my favorite class. But y'all, it was a lot, but I overloaded myself too much, and I plan to get better with that and prioritize my life so that next quarter I can record, work, and keep my sanity, because that's the goal. And then the fraternity won't be in the picture, so then that'll be less obligations also. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on was my anxiety. So I have been struggling with anxiety for a really long time, and I'm going to make a separate video on this, but I just wanted to just voice this to people, because I know a lot of people struggle with anxiety, and sometimes you don't really realize what it is, but it's just like it kind of took over, and I've been fighting trying to take anxiety meds for a really long time, but I just couldn't do anymore. Like, I was desperate for relief because it was affecting my ability to, like, my quality of life and my daily functions. Like, I couldn't study because I was so on edge. I couldn't really do anything. I just became extremely irritable. Now, I don't want to say this wasn't mixed with depression, but it can sometimes be like that. So I just wanted to say that I did finally get on anxiety meds, because it really was to the point where I felt like I could not go on if I didn't seek help. And I've tried like a lot of different natural methods, from diffusers, you know, teas, and all kinds of stuff. And yes, those are great additions to therapy, but if you need it, I feel like you should seek it, because it has really changed my life. It has helped me calm down. It has helped me get through a lot of things. So I'll talk about that a little bit more, but I thought that was important, and I'm kind of just getting comfortable with sharing it, because at first it was kind of embarrassing, because it's like, oh my gosh, like you're anxious. And most of the time when you're on anxiety meds, people think like, oh, she's crazy or this person is crazy, and you're really not. There's just some things that's out of your control, and especially when you have a lot going on in your life. So it's nothing you should be ashamed about, and if you need help, you should seek it. And I'm not a doctor or anything, I'm just saying I think it would be great if you do need it. So I just wanted to record this little update video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And thank you so much for stopping and watching my video and your support. I love you guys.